Thank you for doing this with me. Not Nosy, Just Curious podcast. I appreciate it. And what I want to ask you is you've made a major career shift. Now, has your career path followed exactly what you wanted it to do, or was this a slow burn, or how did you come up with this?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
I'm the lucky one. Thank you.
Yes. So real estate is something I've always been extremely interested in. And when we were living in Huntington Beach, California, my husband used to call me a flag chaser because every Saturday and Sunday, open houses would put flags all over the place. And I would always go and look and see every house. I knew every house in the neighborhood, Newport, Huntington. And my husband was always telling me I should go into real estate. And at the time, I was working for a pretty large organization. It's global. And I really enjoyed what I did as well. And that was more in the process improvement space, continuous improvement space. Mm-hmm. And so fast forward, we moved to Dallas. I'm traveling a ton for my job. I have 2 littles at home. And things started to feel unbalanced. No matter how much help we had, it still wasn't balanced. And in April of 25, I was called and they said, we're going to lay you off. And it was probably the most relieving conversation I'd ever felt in my life. I just felt this overwhelmed sense of relief. And I texted my husband and said, I got laid off. And he said, okay. And I said, I just feel really good right now. And he said, well, what do you want to do? And I said, well, I'm going to take the real estate exam like we've always discussed. And I took that in June of 25 and I passed on the first try. And a real estate agent that we had known quite well said, come work with me and see if you learn from me and see if you like it. And so in this process, I was kind of Instagram market targeted by a group called WIRE, Women Investing in Real Estate.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yes. And Grace and Amelia are the 2 founders. They're young women who were in corporate America who pivoted. They realized they didn't like it. And between the both of them, they're in their late 20s, early 30s. They had 70 rental properties. And I joined the WIRE community and started getting on calls and meeting women all over the United States who are W-2 workers, who go to college, be successful, go to corporate America, follow that path, right? And realized it was not as fulfilling as they originally thought it would be, or they were finding much more value in owning their own lifestyle in their own way. And so in September of 25, I went on a retreat with the WIRE community, and there was about 20 to 30 women from all over, and we went to Utah, and everyone had their own story. And women were as young as 19 all the way into their 50s there, and just talking about how real estate has provided this lifestyle that they never could dream of from the investment side. And you have women who invest in single families, in multifamilies, in antique homes that rehabilitate them all the way, to today's standards. I have a good friend up in Connecticut, and the work that she does is stunning, but she takes time and she's very methodical. There's another lady in Michigan on the West Coast who does something similar. And so everybody kind of had their own flavor around it. And I came back from that really energized and charged up, and just listening to how everyone does it differently and funds their properties or looks for deals. And everyone shared their lenders, shared their horror stories, were extremely vulnerable. And so I said, I'm going to try it. And now here we are, January 22nd, 2026, and I'm up to 10 properties.
So let me ask you, Caitlin. So this is, I just need some clarity here. So you're not you're not entering the real estate arena as in a traditional sense. You're entering as an investor,
Yep.
right? You're buying properties to what? For lack of a better word, flip or resell, or so your real estate experience is not, I'm going to go out and sell real estate. That's not what you're about. You're part of an investment arena.
Correct.
Right?
Yes. Yes. And so,
and now when you say you're up to 10 properties, are you personally invested in those 10 properties? Are you sole owner in those 10 properties?
yes. Yes, I am. I'm sole owner.
Okay.
Yes.
So it was I didn't mean to interrupt. I'm sorry.
that's okay.
So it was a humongous investment in your next step here.
Yes, it is kind of scary.
Yes, terribly scary, because it's not only are you doing something different, but you're talking big amounts of money.
Yes. Well, in the beginning, yes,
Right?
because I didn't know any different. I only knew save, get your down payment and use the conventional loan, if you will. And after going to this retreat and speaking with a bunch of different women, people introduced me to hard money, private money lending. And that just seems so foreign and scary to me. And so I came back in September and I did my first deal with hard money, and I was able to purchase a home.
And when you say hard money, Caitlin, what does that mean? Your money is the hard money?
It's a hard money
So
lender.
you don't have a capital. Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah. So they're providing all of the capital and all of the expenses up front. And I put down a small percentage. So for example, it was $145,000 home. It needed about $80,000 worth of work. And I had to put down about $17,000. So significantly
of your
different.
money. Right. Okay.
And when I was purchasing the home, I met a gentleman named Danny, and he said, who's going to be your general contractor to improve the property? And I said, well, I think I can do it myself. I think I can do the GC work myself. And he said, let me introduce you to a man. His name is Carlos. He's done my properties. I really like his work. You're more than welcome to go to some of my rental properties to see what he's done. And so I met Carlos and we kind of clicked. He's very stoic and he's done this for many, many years. And he's been such a great mentor in teaching me, how to find a good property, where the location, but then also scope of work when it goes into fixing these properties and helping you do the math to make sure that everything flushes out.
Let me just, my curiosity is, what was your skill set? I mean, you went in here. I mean, okay, so you graduate high school, you go to college, you do whatever, and now you're married, you have a couple kids. What is your skill set for this arena? I mean, this has to be frightening at least. And now you're meeting contractors and the dialogue, you have to learn the language.
Right. It's
right.
I'm in a foreign world, and I say quite often, it's me, myself, and I. And then similar to your daughter, Erica, I have, Frenchie. So Sam, she had Sam, I have Mac, and then I have King. So they're kind of my emotional support team, if you will.
Support. Okay. All right.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the other day I was on the phone with a good friend that I met at that retreat, and I said, hi, I'm here, me, myself, and I, and does this sound crazy? And she goes, no, I think you should go do that. And
so Caitlin, you never thought, I am in over my head. Who do I think I am?
I think that daily.
Oh, you did?
I still think it today. I went and looked at a property, and there's all of these men, it's off-market deal, and they're in there measuring and talking and throwing all these numbers out. And I think there's one other lady in the whole house, and I'm there, sizing it up, looking through everything, trying to figure it out. And it is intimidating from that perspective, right?
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So It is. I'm the one man show right now with Carlos and everything. And I find the properties, I work with him to come up with a scope of work. And then once he's done, I rent the properties. I do all of the property management myself.
So
Um,
you rent the properties. Your intention is not to sell.
no, I want to keep the properties as long as I possibly can. And my thought process is the renter is paying down the mortgage. They're covering the interest, insurance, the property tax and
But then,
whatnot.
Caitlin, how do you find a viable renter? How do you find somebody that you know
Yeah.
is going to pay the rent? And what are the rents like in Texas? Are they realistic? Are they a little high?
So finding a renter is something I've never done. I rented in college, but I never had to actually find a renter. So
Okay.
my first property I listed, and then I put a sign in the front yard, and the sign in the front yard actually got more hits than the listing on Zillow. And
Okay.
I did the background check, and I met the family, and we walked the property together, and I wrote up the contract, and they've been in there for since I purchased it, and they're the sweetest family, and I adore them. And
So you got lucky.
yeah. And then
So let me just ask, Caitlin, I'm sorry I
kept
keep
doing it.
interrupting. I'm so curious about it all. So when you rent it and you have this mortgage on this property, your rent is expected to pay 80% of that mortgage, and you take that small asset at that point? Do you know what I'm saying? So if you rent the property for $1,000, but your mortgage payment is 800, right? So you know the payment is being covered, so you're making $200 a month on that property.
Yep.
Is that a ridiculous amount? I mean, what is the standard?
Right.
What's the standard?
I think everyone has a different rule of thumb. Some people say 1%.
Okay.
Some people say minimum 500. I went to a Bigger Pockets podcast last Friday, and Dave Meyer was there, and he said, even if you're making $50, the appreciation, they're paying down your mortgage. There's a lot of tax benefits from owning rental properties that I've started to discover and working with different people in the community, which has also been a huge advantage since my husband is a W-2 employee. And
there you go.
Yeah. So I think it just really depends on your market and where you are and what's your long-term strategy. I have one friend who
What
only
is your
does. Oh yeah, my strategy is to accumulate as many as I can. So when the boys go to college, hopefully that pays everything for them if they so choose to go to college. I don't know what it's going to look like, in 20 years from now, if college is still going to be as relevant as it was when I was in high school. But I do believe that there's a lot of benefits going away and living by yourself and learning how to survive by yourself. And so right now, the strategy is to keep the properties and to pay them down, have them appreciate. Some people bundle them up after 5 years and sell them and buy bigger assets. Some people.
So would you buy an apartment building, like you're saying, bundle them, go get a multi-family unit, a couple of those?
Absolutely. That could be a potential.
So the growth potential here is pretty magnificent. If done right, right?
Yes, if done right. And please, I am still learning this. I am still making a lot of mistakes, if you will, and errors. So I'm still very much so in student mode, more so than anything else.
Yeah, but it's respectable that you are learning and you do have the dialogue and you do have the foresight to understand the future projections on it all. And then fortunately, your husband's in the tax arena, so you understand that world also.
Mhm.
So I personally think money on real estate is the best money invested in the world. My dad always said buy real estate. He never made a dime in any of his real estate, but that's where his heart was. And I think more people who buy real estate, that's the best investment you can make. Personally, that's me. But I don't, that's a very topical
Mhm.
thought, because my dad was just kind of a landlord buying property, where you're trying to accumulate major pieces of property, and one day, Caitlin, who knows, you might have yourself a couple major apartment buildings.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe, and that's its own beast in and of itself. But I'm having a lot of fun and I'm learning a lot. And to your point earlier in the conversation, just learning the vernacular, learning what's
The
all
language.
the language, and what does good tile look like, and how how do you lay a floor, how do you do the calculations?
But let me ask you too, though, do you care? Not to dismiss the thought. I mean, certainly it's still your property, but when you're doing your facelifts, do you care if it's a good tile or if it's a quality piece of wood? Do you care, or do you want just to get it visually appealing?
I do care a lot. And so this is something that
Okay.
Carlos has kind of trained me a little bit more on. He's like, don't go expensive here. Go expensive in
Okay.
these areas where you need countertops, right? Certain types of
Okay. Okay.
cabinets.
All right. Okay.
He's like, is there other things? He's like, I don't think we need to go high end. Middle of the road is okay, right? And so when I first started out, I was like, I wanted it to look like a home I would live in. And he said, you need to broaden your aperture, and you need to say, okay, what's going to be super durable for the people who live here and in the type of communities you're buying in. But also, you want to give them a nice home that they can live in, that you're not going to have a bunch of complaints. You don't do carpet. Spend a little bit of extra money and do like that higher end vinyl flooring, because it's more durable and it will last longer. Tile the bathrooms in these areas. Use this type of tile, right? The Zalej tile, those, the more, it looks like it's handcrafted. I love that look. And he said, it can get dirty. There's more grout lines. You got to think through that.
Okay.
Right. So I do feel that I put
So your personal
more.
flavor was kind of, so your personal taste and flavor was kind of affecting the renovation of some of this.
Yes.
And he had to rein you in and teach you some certain areas where that's all
Right.
fine and dandy, but
Right.
not in this particular area.
Correct. Yes.
And Caitlin, is it very important to you to give a fine home to a family? I mean, really,
Yeah.
I mean, which is good. I think that's maybe a woman's quality, because some men, they will just paste and stick and do whatever just to get it visually looking good, get the
Yes.
family in, and then it's a terrible disappointment. That's not your goal.
Yes. No, that is not my goal whatsoever. And, the saying is lipstick on a pig. I'd rather it done
Yes.
well up front and take a little bit longer,
Mhm.
and then find the right family that I know is going to take care of it, because
That's important. Yeah.
it's super important to me. And so one of my rentals, I have grandparents taking care of their grandkids because their children could no longer be in the picture. And so they have this lovely home, and the grandparents are just so grateful that it's walking distance to a school. It's really well kept. It has all of the things that they need. I make sure I put washer and dryers, refrigerators in there. I make sure that the backyard is all nicely fenced in, especially if there's children or pets. So
you're not adverse to pets. Pets are welcome.
I am a huge dog.
I mean, how
lover.
do you vet your families?
Yeah.
How do you vet them? I mean,
I think there's two sides of the coin. There's the actual financials that you see, but then when you spend time with somebody, shake their hand, sit down, walk them through the property, listen to the types of questions that they're going to ask, see the family in their entirety, you get a sense and a feel for them. Then
So there's a likability factor.
You can't say that because you can't say I like this person more and I gave it to them, but I just feel, if you have a really nice product and you have a little bit higher rents than what's in the community, you attract a little bit higher clientele, if you will. And I think
so. You're not.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry to interrupt. You're not looking for the steady pay Section 8. You're looking, like you said, you're offering a quality product, and you may be a little higher, but you get what you pay for.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Right? Yes. I get a lot of that feedback. Your rent is pretty high considering the area, but I've found people and have been able to place them. And so far, these people are very lovely and they take very good care of my home. We have a freeze coming here in Texas. I'm sure you've heard half the United States is about to freeze. And I've texted my tenants, are you okay? Do you need, outdoor covers, or do you need anything? And everyone said, no, I have it. I've already done it. I'll make sure to drip the faucets. I'll let you know if anything happens. But it's just so nice to know that somebody's in your home taking care of it, because they value where they live as well.
Well, that's if someone's nice to you and you'll walk on water for them, you know what I mean? Do you maintain the property? Do you cut the grass, or is that now your rental's responsibility? Or how does, if they want to paint the walls black, are you fine with that as long as they put them back before they leave? I mean, what are the boundaries?
So I do ask them to cut the yard and maintain the yard that they have. For painting the walls, I really haven't come across that. No one's asked me that right now. But I think, to your point, as long as you can put it back to the color it was at, I'm okay with that. Black may be a little bit more difficult to cover up than some of the other colors. But again, if they can put it in the original state that they rented it at, I'm okay.
So you have this very formal contract that you go through with them.
And make
and
sure
then
that
you're yes, because you welcome animals and everything. You welcome dogs.
Yes. I don't,
dogs, as you know, are such a big part of a family.
Yes. I'm a huge dog lover. I have 2 dogs myself, and they have always been part of our family. And if
you want to call them dogs, Frenchies, those, they are something really special, those Frenchies.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Yeah. Well,
yeah.
But
they are part of the dog family.
They are part of the dog family.
They're like human,
in the community. So
yeah,
I'm okay with pets. Yes.
Well, that's nice, because see, when we spoke the other day and you said you were making this transition into this one arena, this big corporate arena, to go into real estate, I thought you were entering as a sales associate selling real estate. But this is a whole new, this is really kind of very interesting to me. And hip hip hooray to you, girl, honest to God. And like you said, you got involved with the women's group. You learned everything you could, because you are really, really entering into a man's world.
Yes, it is definitely a man's world, and it just has a different energy and vibe to it. And when it comes to that dominant space, and I am taking a lot of the skills that I learned in my corporate job. I worked in manufacturing, supply chain, which is also a very male dominant role, right?
But let me just interrupt for a minute, Caitlin. You were making fabulous money in that arena. So had they not fired you, would you have left?
That's a great question, because I don't know if I'm the only woman that does this, or other women, but there's always that self-compromise where you just kind of
Mhm.
compromise with yourself and you just go through it and you do it. Does that make
Oh,
any
yeah, we
sense?
are masters at now, masters. If you're ending a relationship, you go, well, you know what? He doesn't beat me and blah, blah. And we make all these
Yeah.
okay rules, So,
Yeah.
yeah, no, we're great at that. Yes, I get a
Yes.
paycheck. Not so bad. Yeah,
Right. And so
yeah,
I travel all the time. I don't see my kids, but I make very good money. Or,
yes, yes.
oh,
But, but, yeah.
there's a lot of buts around that. And I did not realize how impactful that was. And so when I stepped away from my job and I was studying, because originally I thought I would go into selling real estate, and then I realized like that's kind of not where
Right,
I like. I'm
right.
really passionate about the investment piece. My husband was like, "Oh my God, I didn't realize how much I love having you home all the time." And my kids were much happier. And my oldest is entering first grade, my youngest is in pre-K 4, and my oldest has homework and he wants to go do all these after school activities. And before, when I was traveling, we had an amazing nanny, but she would take them home, get them, feed them, get them ready. Now we're doing all these sports and William's able to take guitar and I'm doing a bunch of homework with him that I wasn't really prepared to do.
Mhm.
And this is kind of worked out in a way where I can take them to school every day and be involved in their school
And
community.
was that important to you to be more involved with the kids? I mean, you were
Yeah.
fortunate enough to come on, Caitlin. You had a nanny, you had somebody watching, you knew your kids were in good hands.
Yeah.
That's a good feeling though, if you have to be away.
It's an amazing feeling, and I'm so incredibly grateful for our nanny. And she still comes, and we still see her all the time because she is part of the fabric of our house. But
Mhm.
when your kids start to say, "I want to hang out with this person," or "I want to do a drop-off play date," and just knowing the families that they're being with or hanging around with, it
Mhm.
it changes. I couldn't do that when I was traveling all the time, and
But here's the funny thing. I know I keep interrupting you, and I'm very sorry for that. But
it's okay.
here you are, you come from very humble existence, very humble beginnings, and here you are talking about having a nanny.
I know.
I mean,
I
did you
know.
ever in your life think, oh, I got a nanny? I mean, it's just
No,
almost
no.
surreal, right?
Yes, my husband and I talk
I mean,
about
you
that
don't
all
come
the
from a
time.
nanny kind of family,
No,
I mean,
no.
yeah, yeah.
My mom's a dental hygienist. She still practices today. She's in her 70s. And my dad, you know, he had a smaller business in Port Huron, but he made conveyor belts.
But you're
In
by no means a
No,
privileged kid.
no, not
Yeah.
at all.
But yeah, but your children may experience privilege, and then therefore you
Yeah,
have to try and navigate that with some
yeah.
humility.
That is
You know?
something that we speak about all of the time, making sure that we keep our feet grounded. And the other thing
Yeah.
is to your point, like I believe people who invested in real estate came from a world of privilege. And I'm finding out I can invest in
Yes.
real estate,
Yes.
which has been
Yes.
a huge game changer for me and for my family.
But to your point, you never thought you could invest in real estate because I would always think it was a lot of upfront money.
Right.
You know what I
And
mean?
it
So you
is
have,
like there is upfront money, but it is doable. And that's the thing that I'm realizing is you can only go as far as the limits you set on yourself. And
that's brilliant. Yeah, that's,
right. And fear is our number one
yeah.
limiter. And so
But
it's,
fear can be good too, though.
yeah.
It cripples you, but sometimes if you push past the fear,
Yeah.
it's liberating,
It is
you know?
liberating. Yes. And I think, my good friend Susie, she always says, on the other side of hard is joy. And however you define hard. And so, I keep thinking about that because it is hard being by yourself now, making all these decisions that you really never had to make, because I was in like a very corporate environment and everyone had their job roles and descriptions. And now I'm the finance person. I'm, the project manager. I'm the property manager. So wearing a lot of hats, but I really enjoy it. And I really think that's kind of exciting.
You do.
Yeah.
You do. That's interesting, because you're right. Like you said before, everybody had their lane. They stayed in their lane. They did their job. But now you're the one dictating the lane, and and the kind of boss or owner you want to be will certainly trickle down.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And
and
I like making all the decisions, and it's kind of scary to make.
You do. You like that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you?
Yeah.
You don't ever get like, oh my God, I'm so tired of making these decisions. You decide.
At this
like
moment,
if you and your husband want to go to dinner and he goes, where do you?
Oh, I will probably default to him. He's a huge foodie.
Go on, I'm sorry.
He's a huge foodie. I'm not a big foodie. So I will default to him
for
a lot of it. Yeah.
So you will. All right. But are you, for the most part, are you a good decision maker? Will you make a decision?
I will make a decision, yes. And I just have to learn to trust myself.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that's what this has taught me the most.
Is that a learning curve, Caitlin? Trusting yourself? Is that a learning curve? I mean, have you had to practice that and give yourself credit for doing it right? And even though there's so immense fear involved in that?
Yeah, absolutely. I've just had to trust myself and go, and, I can't beat myself up if the decision doesn't work out well. It's more, all right, that didn't work. I know I probably will never make that decision again, but I have to move on. I don't have time to wallow in it. It's, I'm either in the morning shift working on getting my kids out the door. You remember that, like driving them, getting them ready.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have a window of time that I need to be extremely efficient. And then I pick them up after school, and then I'm totally focused on them until they go to bed, which I'm very, very grateful for.
But you have had to learn to trust. Like you had to learn to trust Carlos. You had to learn to trust your instinct. You had to learn to trust this is a good investment. I mean, there's a lot of do I, don't I. So there's a lot of trust involved. And I heard this thing, if you don't, what was it? If you don't trust it, then don't, if you don't like it, then don't do it,
Right. And
so
yesterday,
you have to really, really trust that gut of yours.
Yes.
You've given it everything.
Yeah. So yesterday I was looking at a deal.
7 cents.
And the guy looked at me and he's like, what does your gut say? And I was like, I don't think this is the deal for me. And he goes, great, trust your gut. And he said that is a big deal that you can trust yourself. And he's like, and listen to your gut, because a lot of people get kind of spun up and they rationalize the deals to hopefully make them make sense. And also just saying no and walking away.
I read somewhere the intuition is like the 7th sense. Mm-hmm. How often, Caitlin, you said, oh my God, I had a feeling. And we've had this feeling so often, but we didn't pay attention to it. You know what I mean? So I think it's so real. And when this guy said to you, what does your gut say? I was like, wow, that's great. Because if you, that's what it was. If you doubt, don't.
Yeah. Yep.
That's what I heard somebody say one time. If you doubt and you got any kind of doubt and you're wavering, then just don't.
Mm-hmm.
It's done. Don't do it. So
I think so many
times. This was terribly. Yeah, go on. I'm sorry. I didn't mean. I keep interrupting because I'm so curious about it all, and it's very you're just captivating speaker as well. So
thank you.
Easy to listen to. Yes.
So yes, I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me about this, because I'm so excited and I'm very passionate about it, and it feels good to be excited.
You are, and I mean you are, but you don't speak you speak like from your gut. I mean, this is something that, like I said, I thought we were talking about a career shift when I talked to you the other day, and I thought you were selling real estate, but this is a whole new arena, and this is very respectable. And this is something women aren't in, investing in real estate.
Yes.
And you know what? This, plus you have so many options to be hands-on with this.
Yep.
You know, it is yours.
Yes, it is mine.
It's always going to be yours, you know, so whatever decisions are made are yours. So
Yeah.
I think that, and the people that you're meeting, I find it, very interesting, very, very curious. Curious.
Yes. And I love the fact that I can talk to other women about multiple financial paths for them. Even if they don't want to do this full time, there's opportunity for people out there to do this, to even get a little bit of extra income while they're doing something, and then eventually sell the asset or, gift the asset to their children.
But you know, Caitlin, the feeling I'm getting from you from this is not the money. It's like money didn't motivate you here.
That's probably true to a certain degree. Yes.
Certainly you don't want to do it for free, but I'm not getting the feeling like the money was what motivated you here.
No, it's just something I've always been interested in. And then I feel very privileged that I'm able to give a really lovely home to a nice family and have them, live there. And I feel like that's something very honorable to it. I have one lady who lives in our property. She is a single mom. She works really hard. She has 2 super cute kids. She can walk to a school. Her kids can walk to school, and she loves the house. She treats it great. And I'm so happy that she's in a safe, nice neighborhood by school, and I'm able to provide that to her.
Well, okay. So that's, for you, it's more of a opportunity to help.
Yeah, I guess you could say
Kind
that.
of,
Yeah.
right? I mean, you vet these people, the people you have picked have been very, upstanding. So I just, I think it's very respectable that you like to help. I mean, there's not a lot of people in the world today that want to extend the olive branch and be helpful.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Or even kind. Yeah, it
Yeah.
really is. It really is.
Yeah.
So I think, I had a reckoning with you, girl, because I really did think we were going to talk about a career shift and you going off into selling real estate. So this is a whole new arena for me. And God, I respect it because my father believed in it so much, and he never made a dime, but he thought real estate, owning property, was the way to go all them years ago, and to see a comrade here, a woman champion for these causes. You got my heart, man. You got it.
Oh, well, thank
Very
you.
respectable. God bless you. Really, God bless you.
No,
Thank you for doing this with me.
Of course. I'm going to leave the selling to Susan.
What?
Susan is more of a sell. Can sell
Susan's
anything.
a great little salesperson, honest to God. Who don't love her from Susan? But yeah, this is very good. Very good. Will you visit me again, maybe in a year?
Yeah,
Would you?
Oh gosh, yeah.
When you get a few more properties and before your head gets too big, although I can't imagine that with you, but yeah, I'd like to discuss when you get a few more properties.
Absolutely. I would love to. I'll send you some photos of some of my properties. I'll text you.
Oh, thank you. I would love that. Please do. And like I said earlier, you can find this podcast on iHeart, Spotify, Amazon Music, and then the video is on YouTube.
Awesome.
So good for you. Good for you, Caitlin. Very proud of you, man. Very proud. God bless.
All right. Well,
All right.
I will talk to you
We'll talk
soon.
again.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.